Hi everyone, in today's video we are going to see uh, what are the tips and tricks we can use for doing a faster coding. So this tutorial will be based on Visual Studio. So if you are using a different IDE like Visual Studio Code or other uh, coding editors, this video is not for you. So let's see what is the first thing we have. So first thing we have is IDE setup related things. So whenever we try to use Visual Studio, we came across a situation where we need to install Visual Studio. So you can see the screen whenever you try to install a new version, you get a similar screen. Like if I have Visual Studio 2017 and I need to install 2019, similar screen can appear. So in order to use the default settings, like if you are a C# developer and have pre-selected packages like for web related and WPF and everything, so you can just use export configuration from your already installed Visual Studio versions, and you can use that export settings into a new Visual Studio installation settings. So by that you can save a lot of time by choosing it in a pre-installed environment. So this is one way we can save time while installing it. So second thing is we have IDE feature, which is a search related feature of Visual Studio. We also going to discuss the late project loading. So by late project loading we mean that like if you have different types of projects, like if one project contains 20 projects and you are just interested in one or two projects just for the reference purposes, or you need to see something within related projects, you can just choose not to load all the projects but only the dependent projects, which is load only dependency projects. And you can save that as a solution filter, so that if you wants to open it again with the same dependency project filtering, you can do that as well. So let's just see it in action. So search feature of Visual Studio, with this feature we can search like on the search bar. It's very powerful bar. In this you can search like for adding a new project. So in order to add a new project we need to go through all the tasks, like from file, new, and add new projects. We need to do that, but with this we can just type it like that, and it will going to show you the option for adding the project. So it will going to save a lot of time. Second one is Windows related. So when sometimes it happens that we need to show some videos or windows, like debugging windows or auto windows. It's really hard to find between the menus. So what you can do, you can just type it and it will going to show you something like that, and you can click on it and it will going to open it for you. And another one is keyboard like settings related search feature. So you can just search on that search bar, like if you want to search for keyboard settings or debugging setting, it will just show it as an icon, and when you click on it, it will just take you to the that setting page. So let's just see what we mean by that. So this is my project which I have built for the purpose of demonstrating. So it's nothing but a MVC project, and which have one dependency project which is business logic, and another one is very simple DLL project. Okay, reload project, I need to do that. Okay, so let's just see first what our project contains. So as you can see, I haven't done anything new. It's just a sample project. So inside it, first thing we have is let me just open the controller so that it will look like a MVC project. Okay, so first feature we have is like adding a new project. So in order to add a new project, what we need to do is we need to right click on this solution and go to add and add new project, and from the templates we need to search it, right? And by doing that we can add a project. But with this new search bar, we can just type in add new library, and like it is showing what kind of project. So you can just type in .NET project, so it will show it like .NET Standard, or .NET Core Base Library, or class library with this. So when you click on it, it will just take you to the same dialog which will come when you do a right click and go to the create project. So this is very handy, and to add a project from this bar only. So another thing which I was discussing is the auto window. So you can see there is no auto window right now. We have this but no auto window. So in order to add a auto window, we need to struggle through this and keep searching through this like other windows and all, and then need to search what windows we now want. So in order to avoid it, we can just write something like auto windows, and it should show it somewhere here. Auto hide all. So like if he wants to add, actually my project was not running, so I'm not able to show you the auto window. So now project is running, and when you search on auto window, so it will show it like here, like auto debug Windows Auto. So that's how you can show it. So now this should show somewhere. Yes, it's now showing it here. So that is another feature of this. So another one which is search feature is how to get the settings from it. So as you can see, if we type in here keyboard, it will take us to the keyboard shortcuts, and here like we can search whatever shortcut we are interested in. Like I'm interested in add class. So as you can see, it's showing control space plus control N. So we can just use that shortcut to add class, control space control N. And let me just click somewhere here and control space control N. So as you can see, it will take it to the class dialog, and you can add a class. So similarly, you can see it there, or you can also add the shortcuts from there as well. So so this is the search feature which I have covered. So next is late project loading. So like I was discussing it before, if you have a project which have lots of dependency projects, and you just need to load according to your own need, you can just use this filter, which is do not load project, while opening the solution. So what it will do, it will load all the projects in a unloaded position. So you can just right click and load according to your own need. We can also use the load project dependency. So for example, if you have a web project and there are a bunch of DLLs which is related to that project, you can just choose whatever the dependent project for that web project only. So you can just load it in a chain. So like web is dependent on the business logic, and then business logic dependent upon the data access layer. So by doing that, you can just minimize the time if you're interested in only two layers of project, one is web and another with business logic layer, not data access layer. And you can then save it as a filter, so you can choose to save as a solution filter, and its extension will going to be SLNF, so solution with filter. So next time if you are going to load or open your solution with this file, then you can have the same filtration of solutions which you have saved last time. So let's just see that. So in order to open it, we need to close it first and click on Visual Studio, and here we need to go to the open a project solution, and my project resides in desktop, tips and tricks, and this one is the one. So as you can see, it's my project solution, and if I check this one, it will not going to load my all the projects. So let's just open it, and now you can see it's open it in a unloaded position. So you can just choose which project you need to load first. So my main project is this, so I will just load this one first. So now only this project will be loaded, and now I want to just see the immediate reference project which is used by this web solution. So I can what I can do is I can just right click on this and just choose load project dependencies. So whatever dependencies this project have will going to load. So as you can see, business logic is only loaded, and another sample project is not loaded. So by that we can just save the time by not loading those projects which are not in interest of us. And we can also save this filtration by right clicking on this and then use it like save as solution filter. So when we do that, we can just have a similar extension like this, and we can just load it. So I will just use the same thing again and replace it, and let's just close it again. And when I go to this one again, and if I load it using SLN, so it should load all the projects like it should be. So if we have 20 projects, it should load all the 20 projects inside it. So I think last time I didn't unload it, so let me just reload the project and save it first and then try to load it. So as you can see, it's all the projects are loaded, but when I choose this filtered project solution file, it should load only the dependencies. So it was asking me something. Let's just Visual Studio 2019 and click OK. And it should not load our sample project. So now you can see it's only loaded those projects, and there is one more project which we have seen, which is sample project. It is not shown here. So in order to show that, we need to see right click on this solution and show unloaded projects option, and when we click on it, it will then going to show you. So that's how you use filtering of solution or late project loading. So next one we have is Visual Studio keyboard shortcuts. So these are the shortcuts which we might not be using it. We all do like Control KD, Control KC for commenting and formatting, but these are some different ones which I have like noted it down. So it is for navigate backward. So if you have tab, you can just navigate on the last tab used. Access clipboard history. So you can you have many requirements, like you need to copy paste different things all over again. So what you can do, you can just copy all the items you need to use, and then you can access clipboard and paste it according to your own need. And this is the go last edit location. It's very handy when you sometimes it happens like you are editing something and then you wants to see the reference of other files in order to edit something. So you end up going to different locations. So when you go there, you can just use this shortcut to get back to last edit location. So last edit location is like where you actually type something or try to change something. Otherwise, multi-caret editing, so it will allow you to add lines in multiple locations. So toggle block comments, so we can toggle comments using Control K C and Control KU, which is a line based toggling of comment, but with this we can use block comment. So you can just select the region and add the whole block into a block comment. Alloy of extract interface. So we can use this shortcut to extract the interface from the class and save it to another file. And we can also use like control dot for moving to the another namespace. So if we have a requirement, like if one class needs to go into another's namespace, we can do that by using this shortcut. And this is used for expanding and collapsing all the blocks we have inside a class or a file. And surrounding a block is something which we can use it to use for if you want to add it in a block of comment or adding to a region a particular block, so we can do that. And we can always use keyboard shortcuts using our custom keys, which we have already seen. So let's just see all these in action. So first we have navigate backward. So let me just reload this project again and open different types of files, this one and this one. So like I'm on this and what is the I was on this tab, and now I moved to the home controller. So when I type control minus, so when I go to the home controller, actually my minus key is not working, so numeric key will not work with this. So I was on about.cs HTML and now I'm on home controller. So when I type control plus minus, it will take me back to the last tab which I have used. Access clipboard history, if I want to copy this one, control copy, control C and control C on this. Oh sorry, control C on this. And now I want to use all those files in a different fashion, so I can use control shift V, and you can see it will going to contain all the clipboard history we have. So we can just choose it according to our own needs. So control shift V again, and we can copy paste like this. So this is also very nice to have. So another one is last edit location, which I was talking about. So for example, I have started typing something here, and then to a backspace, or maybe leave it like that, and control S, and then I started to move in different location. I start scrolling here and there, but I am not typing anything. So I want to go to exact that location where I was doing some editing. What I can do is I can use Control Shift Backspace, and it will take me to last editing location. So you don't need to keep remembering all those stuffs. It will just get back to you. So one thing you need to always remember, that you need to type something there, so that Visual Studio can know that you are editing something here. So multi-caret editing, if you wants to type here, here and here at the same time. So how you can do it? The way we can do it is we can use Control Alt and click. So I click here, I click here, I click here. So if you can see, there are 3 blinking cursors are there. So when I start typing, it will just type in all the places. So it's very nice feature, and it's very handy when you are editing something and migrating code from here and from one place to another. It's really nice to have. So next one is toggle block comments. So we all know Control K C will comment by line, and Control K U is uncommenting the lines. But if I want to block comment all the lines in a block comment, so the way I can do is Control Shift and backslash. So as you can see, it's commenting on a block basis, and when I hit again Control Shift backspace backslash, it will uncomment it. So it's kind of toggle thing for the comments. Next Visual Studio shortcuts is we can use this for extracting the interface. For extracting the interface, we have class. Okay, so I have 2 functions here. So many times it happens when we have old project, we need to use DI with it, and we need to create a interface from this. So the best way or the easiest way to do it is using a Control RI. So you need to click on the class and do Control R and I. So it will give you a pop-up saying that it will be an interface generated name. As you can see, I is used for the convention of interface. So it's already appending it, and it will also show you what function it will going to contain, and file name will also be used. So it will also create a file name as well. So if I click OK, so as you can see, it's not even just create an interface, it also implements it. So it's very, very handy, and I really use a lot this feature. So another one is move type to namespace. So if I type control dot here, so it will ask me for move to namespace. So when I click on it, it will just ask for what kind of namespace we have. So when I click basic business logic models, right now it's inside a business logic. When I click OK, it will just add another namespace, which is business logic.models. So it will not going to change your file into some another folder, but it will just change the namespace for you. This is, I think, a magic keyword as far as I remember. So if I use it inside a function, like inside here, maybe here, and use control dot, so it will show me the different things like change signature. With signature, it can ask me if you wants to swap the ordering of the what should I say, parameters. So if I do that and click OK, so it will be interchanged. So user me was there here and here. So similarly, we have different functions according to where we put it. So maybe here we will get something different. So it will show it explicit type instead of where. So it will show us different types of coding standards, which is like a suggestion from the Visual Studio. So it's a magic one. So control dot is magic one. It will change according to the cursor we have, the position of the cursor. It will going to show us the option. So another one is collapse and expand. So in order to collapse, we need to use control MO. So it will collapse all the blocks we have, and when we do control MP, it will open all the blocks we have. So this is also very nice. And another one is surround block. So when I select the whole thing and do a control KS on it, it will show me what kind of thing I want to put into. So like if I choose region, so the whole block will get inside a region, and I can just say it like get user. So you can see it will be contained by the region. You can similarly use it with if conditions as well, and whatever the surround block supports. So adding a keyboard shortcut, we have already seen that, like when I do keyboard shortcut and go to the settings, and we can assign here keyboard shortcuts, like I have done that for class. So this is the shortcut added by me, so you can do that from here as well. So let's see what we have left. So we have done that, multi-caret is done, extracting, collapsing, surrounding, and adding keyboard shortcut. So another we have chord snippets. So chord snippet is like a shortcut for adding different conditions blocks. So for 4 we can just type 4 and click double tap, and it will just add a 4 block for you. Similarly, we have class, properties, for regions, for if condition, for else. So let me just show you that. So if we are inside a class, I can do like 4. So I will type just 4 and click double tap, so it will add a block for me. Similarly, I can use if, and we can also use region as well. So these are different types of snippets we can use. We can also use property. It will just add a property, and we can just use string and add property in it. So these are some cool things we can do with that. So last thing we have is I think it's related to debugging. So we can we have seen that we can add breakpoints. We can add conditional breakpoint as well. We can use add watches, so variables can be watched, and we can use auto locus to narrow down our searching for variables. And we can also use programming debugging, in which we can just format the debugging functions, what information we need to see inside a debugging, and then we can also use tracing. So let's just see those in action. So let's just discuss the debugging. So first point we have is breakpoint windows, and we can add labels on it. So this is the breakpoint window. You can also search it from here, breakpoint window. So one thing you need to like remember, when you want to search it, your project should be in a debugging mode, or it might not show it here. So as you can see, I have add couple of breakpoints here, but sometimes it happens like we end up add a breakpoint, but we forget why we add it there. So we can just label it here. So like I have added here, so this is the breakpoint. So when I click on it, it will take me to that breakpoint, and when I click on it and choose edit label, I can just add it. Like if I click edit, and I can use about new, and it should replace. Okay, it it added 2 breakpoints, so it's like really nice. So that way we can add labels to it, and let's just try to do it and delete. And let's just try to edit just this one and click OK. So okay, so it will be just added like that. So that's how you can add labels to it. We can add conditional breakpoint as well. So many times it happens that something is inside a loop and we end up adding this kind of conditions inside it. So one way we can do it is we can click on the breakpoint, like I can add it and click conditions on it. So inside condition I can just use I equal to maybe 2. So when that condition satisfied, it will hit that breakpoint, and before that it will not. So let's just see that in action. So when you add a conditional breakpoint, it will show it like a plus sign. So it's inside a contact. Let me just try to hit this. When I click on it and click on continue, it got hit it. So I value should be 2 right now. So as you can see it's 2 because we have added that condition here. So this is also very nice to have. We can also add watches. For example, I want to just keep looking at this variable. I can just right click on it and click on add watch. So this will be adding to that watch. So I can just keep looking at this. Right now it's 2. Now it get outside actually because of the conditional breakpoint, but I can see this last value is 2 and A is already in watch, so it's 10. So let me just add it again and start from there, and now click on continue. So right now it's I is equal to 0, it's 1 now, it's 2. So similarly we can just see only those variables which we are interested in. And similarly we have autos and locals. So with autos we have values. So with autos auto window will show only the active variables we have. So let me just open the auto window. This is the auto window. Let me just put it in here. So as you can see it's showing only 2 values which are in used. A is used and I is used. So auto will only contains A and I, not the B, because B is not used. So this is the active window, and there is another window which we used, which is local. There you go, this is local window. So that should be somewhere. Okay, it's above. Let me just put it again and bottom. So as you can see this local window will contain all the variables we have inside this block where the breakpoint is. So you can see it will have A, B, this which will going to be a controller of the class, and maybe user logic which is going to be the next one. So it's not hit it, but it's already start showing there. So that's how you can filter your variables and scope of view so that you can debug more efficiently with this. So there is another thing which we might need to see. So last point we have is like programming debugger. So for example, I have this function. So inside that function, I am setting all those values of these properties. And when we debug this, we will get output something like, let me just place it here. And when I sorry about that, it was for, let's just use this. So when we try to let me just come here and do a continue on it. So when we try to see things, we always get a similar output like this. So it is a class, and we need to see all the variables like this. So sometimes happens that we are only interested in some those objects which have name similar to like maybe 20 or like 2020 or something like that. So it will be useful if those variables information will display here instead of showing the namespace, because we are not interested in that. So we can do that by using a programming debugger. So for that we need to use this debugger.break, right? And another thing which we need to change is we need to go to that particular class and add this thing. So debugger display. So here this will be like a constant string, and this will be the placeholder for this properties. So if you want to show this property, we can use this, and in the same way I have used this here. So what it will do, when it will going to show the collection of our objects, it will show user ID and favorite movie an outer block instead of the namespace. So let's see whether how it will going to show us. We are here, and I will just start the application again. So I have started it, and it's already inside a contact one, and when I click continue, so it will break here, and when you see this, now you can see it's showing the value which I have defined there. It started to show here, so it will become really easy for us to see the object information instead of us getting through inside this. So that is very nice to have. And one more thing which I forgot to tell, that locals have also mechanism to like search. So like if I was interested in matrix 1, so I can just start searching inside it and click search. So it will just show me where our value residing. So it will search all the fields. So like I was interested in 4, so it will show it 4, and you can also change the depth of it. So it can go up to 10 depth. We can also filter it here. So this is the same thing. So that is another thing which is really handy. So the last topic we have is tracing. So tracing is a way of outputting your information inside the output window. So as you can see, it is like a for loop, and many times it happens like when we do programming, there are different types of value changes, and we need to keep a track that how values are changing. So in order to have that, either we use like console.writeline or something, but we can do it using a tracing as well. So how we can use tracing is you need to add a breakpoint there in which you want to see all the outputs, and you can right click on it. Like we have used conditions, we can use actions, and inside that action we can type comments like the value of, and double query, then single curly braces will be act as a placeholder, and you can type variable name into it. So it will what it will do is it will loop through all the the value of I, and whenever it gets here, it will going to print like value of, and with the placeholder it will be replaced with the actual value. So let's just close it, and diamond will be the sign if you have enabled tracing for that block. And when I do a continue on it, and as you can see, it started to show value 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So these are the things I think which if you able to remember it, it can like saves a lot of time. So let's just revise it again. I will just walk through you within 2 minutes. Okay, I think I need to start it from the scratch. Yes. So what we have done is for faster coding, first as the installation related stuff, so we can import settings and export it to new installations. Then we have IDE features like search feature in Visual Studio. Then another one is late project loading, and we can also use to load only dependency projects. Then we can save all those filters in a solution filter file. So with search features, we can search the settings for adding new projects. We can search settings for showing windows. We can search settings for keyboards or other related settings. So now we have late project loading. There is a filter which is used for not loading all the projects on the first opening of the solution. Then we can choose to load only dependency projects, and then we can use it this option save as solution filter for saving our filters, and it will be saved like SLNF. Then we have Visual Studio keyboard shortcuts. We have navigate backward, access clipboard, last edit location, multi-caret editing, toggle block comments, allow extract interfaces, move type to namespaces, collapse and expand, surround block, adding keyboard shortcut custom keys. Then we have code snippets like for, class, properties, regions, if, else. And last one is Visual Studio debugging stuff. So we have breakpoint windows. We can add labels to the breakpoints. We can add conditions to the breakpoints. We can add watches for our variables. We can use autos and locals to filter our variables. We can use programming debugging for showing the required information. We can use tracing for showing the logs for our logics. So that is all the things which we can use it for do our faster coding. So if you like my video, please do a comment and subscribe for similar videos. So I can do like for Visual Studio Code as well if I get a good response on this video. So thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and bye.